Yes, my people, we are back. It's your boy VRD here for another commentated drive. And in today's video, we are going to be doing a partial return journey of our trip down to Faversham from St. Pancras. The only difference is that we're going to be in a Class 375 Electro Star and we'll be calling at all stations. We won't be skipping any stations. Also, this journey will be ending at Rochester. We won't be going all the way up to St. Pancras. So, as I said, we are going to be driving a 12 carriage class 375 Electro Star. We are currently in the Faversham up Sidings, which are about a quarter of a mile east of Faversham station. And we're going to take this is one of the first services of the day. We're going to take this train out of the Sidings into Faversham station. And then from there, we'll be calling at all stations to Rochester. Those being Faversham, Tenham, Sittingbourne, Newington, Raynham, Gillingham, Chatham, and Rochester. I really hope I got those right. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into this. Similar to what I did what I do anytime I'm bringing a train out of a siding or a yard or depot. I've configured this train to be in a cold and dark state, although that's not how you would come across it if you've spawned in, but I like doing this because I enjoy displaying the cold start procedure in my videos. So, we're going to enter the back cab, climb up the stairs, the step, whatever, and all we need to do at this end is hold down the aux on button for about 7 seconds. We're due out of here in about 10 minutes, so we got quite a bit of time. Okay, so 7 seconds should have elapsed by now. You can see our TMS has turned on the, what is this called? Oh, I can't think of what to say this, but this has lit up. And our driver Amanda appliance has lit up as well. So the electronics coming on more or less is a good sign that the aux on has been successful. The final thing we're going to do at this end, obviously ensure that no master key and ensure that no master key is inserted and ensure that the FNR switch is in the off position, full service on the PBC as well. And then just quickly come around here and glance at the tail lights, ensure that they're being displayed correctly, which they are. Okay, so that should be all we need to do up at this end. So let's head to the front of this 12 carriage train. It's a very, very long train. Am I recording? It's become tradition at this point. Okay, it's tradition. Yes, I am recording. Okay, good. There's a class 465 network over there. Oof. I'm most likely gonna do. I want to do a video in a networker, but I'm trying to think of what journey to drive it on. I'm not too sure. Anyway, so here we are at the front of the train. We're just ensuring that we have 2 red tail lights being displayed up here as well, which we do. Entering the cab, climbing up the stairs, and I've already keyed on the safety system isolation switches because that is how you'd find them in real life. However, if you spawned in, you'd have to do this yourself. So AWS, DST, Vigilance, those 3 switches need to be in the vertical positions. The other switches aren't functional. Actually, I think on this one, the DRA switch is functional. But on the class 375, the DRA is in the normal position by default. I think on the East Coastway, the DRA is in the off position by default. I'm not even sure. Anyway, so we're going to sit in the driver's seat, insert our master key, move the FNR switch into the neutral position, and acknowledge the AWS self-test sequence. Okay. We're now going to configure the headlights correctly. So we are, we're going to select marker lights for now, and we'll change it to the day running configuration when we get into the station. That's just down to the environment that we're in. It's a siding. It's unlikely there'll be any ground situated staff in this area, but still, just in case. So we're just gonna come down here, ensure that those are being displayed correctly. which they are. You can see we have our two white LED lights, and then you can't really see it. Actually, there we go. You can just about see the other light on the roof. We now need to configure the train to draw power from the electrified third row. So what we're going to simply do is hold down the DC system select button until it lights up. And then we're going to press this yellow button next to it that says shoes down / MCB close. I apologize if these trains are making a lot of noise as well. Yeah, so hold that button for about 10 seconds, and yep, as you can see, our MCB / ADD light has extinguished and our line volt light has illuminated. So that tells us that we are successfully drawing 750 volts from the electrified third row. Final thing we're going to do is perform a static brake test. So move the F&R switch into the forward position, move the PBC into the emergency position, and ensure that the brake cylinder gauge reading shoots upwards to correspond with that. Then move the PBC from the emergency position to brake step 1 in steps. So brake step 3, brake step 2, brake step 1. And ensure that the brake cylinder gauge reading corresponds with those movements. We're now going to momentarily move the PBC into the off position and observe the brake cylinder gauge reading begin to fall towards 0. And as it does begin to fall towards 0, we shoot the PBC right back into the emergency position. So like this. And the brake cylinder gauge reading should shoot all the way back up to 4 bar. After that, PBC back into brake step 3 or full service, whatever you want to call it. F&R switch back into neutral, and then we're just going to test the emergency brake plungers. So push the plunger in, brake cylinder gauge reading should shoot up to 4 bar, pull the plunger out, back down to 3 bar. Same on the other side, push the plunger in, make the same observation. Pull it back out, make the same observation. And that is the cold start procedure complete. It's not exactly realistic in real life. I think the main reservoir pressure over here takes a bit of time to charge up, but in train sim world, it's not, they haven't really, I can see why they haven't gone for extreme levels of realism, but yeah, in real life the cold start procedure takes a bit longer than this, but it is what it is. So yeah, we're due out of Faversham up Sidings in about 4 minutes time, so I'm gonna edit down the video. See you guys in a bit. Alright then. Yeah, so we've now been cleared to enter Faversham platform 1. As you can see, our shunt signal ahead of us has cleared to display 2 white lights with the number 1 in the little display above it there. It's a bit hard to make out, so that tells us that we are okay to proceed. We're going to reset our driver reminder appliance. That's another thing, the driver reminder appliance is not set by default. When you spawn in, you have to set that yourself before setting up the cab for it to depict realism. Anyway, before we move off, I'm just going to perform a test of the hill start button. So, holding the hill start button, I've moved the F&R switch into the forward position. PBC goes into the off position. Keep holding the hill start button in. Observe a reading of 1 bar on the brake cylinder gauge. PBC into power notch 1. Wait for about a second. Release the hill start button. And the train should begin to roll off, and the brake cylinder gauge reading should fall to 0. Speed limit is 15 miles an hour. So I'm just using power notch 1 to get up to 15. We're not really in a rush or anything. Are we? Ooh, actually we might be. I'm not sure what time we're due out of Faversham. No, but the shunt signal only just cleared, so if we're running late, it's not our fault. There was a networker that networker that was next to us, that went into Faversham platform 1 before us, and that was holding us up. It only just departed now. There's a class 395 Javelin over there on the left. That's the train that we drove down from St. Pancras. If you guys haven't seen that video, definitely go watch it. Acknowledging the audible AWS regarding the red signal at the end of the platform. And we're a 12 carriage train, so we are going to stop right at the very end. You can see these stop marks there, the blue stop boards, and I'm going to try to stop with that in the right drop light window, although I doubt I'm going to be able to pull that off. In fact, no, I'm not going to do that because of the the flipping TPWS grid right there in the track. Anyway, so, oh gosh, return to free roam. So yeah, aim to come to a standard brake step 1 selected. I was using brake step 2 momentarily while slowing down, but I went back down to brake step 1 for the stop. So now that we're at a stand, brake step 3 into neutral. The signal has just cleared to a green aspect, so we don't need to set the DRA. And we're going to cross the cab to activate the doors on the right hand side. And, ooh, hold on. Oh, I actually did it. That wasn't even intentional. Oh, okay. Wow. Your boy is talented. You see what I'm saying? I'm destined to be one of the most notorious train sim world YouTubers out there. Just give me a bit of time, you know. This is just the early stages. What, like, are you not seeing this? What are you telling me? Say something. That wasn't on purpose. That was completely unintentional. I, even though I said I was gonna aim to stop with them in the window, I kind of gave up. I wasn't even looking to the right, and boom, I still managed to do it. Okay. Um. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. We need to change our headlights to the day running configuration, so we're gonna do that now. Just quickly go outside and check. Yep, that is looking fine. And our destination display is automatically updated to display Cannon Street. Yeah. The class 375's destination display in train sim mode is a bit dodgy. It doesn't really work if you do it manually. I think the game just decides whether it wants to display it or not. Anyway, so we've now got a 2 minute wait before our scheduled departure time. So I am going to close the doors in about 60 seconds time. 30 seconds prior to your departure time is a good time to begin getting the doors closed. And that is what they do in real life. So just quickly look at our cooling pattern here. Yep, Tenham, Sittingbourne, Newington, Raynham, Gillingham, Chatham and Rochester. So a journey time of about 40 minutes or so. Okay, so we're down to 30 seconds prior to our departure time. Just going to quickly look back along the platform. That looks fine to me. The class 375 doesn't have the CCTV monitors like the class 377 and class 387. So you have to manually look back along the platform. Yep, that looks fine to me. I'm not going to do the most and go all the way there to see the very back. In real life, you would have a platform dispatcher that would be helping you with that. They would be shining a bunch of lights and telling you that it's okay to go. So yeah, door interlock light has illuminated. Green signal. FNR switch into forward. PBC into the off position momentarily. Power notch 1 as the brake cylinder gauge reading gets below 1 bar. And then now that the brake cylinder gauge reading is at 0, power notch 2. Speed limit is still 15 miles an hour. So back down to power notch 1 as we reach 10 miles an hour. And shutting off the power at 15. We just passed a board with the number 60 in it, so that tells us that our speed limit will be increasing to 60 miles an hour once we are clear of the point work. So we got a long 12 carriage train, so it's going to take quite a while. Sorry, I need to sniff. I try not to do that when I'm recording, but sometimes I can't help it. And it will affect my commentary as well. My voice sounds different if I hold back on sniffing for too long. Okay, so we should now be clear of the 60 board. So I'm going to select power notch 3 and accelerate up to 30 miles an hour. Once we reach 30, I will perform a running brake test. Okay, so we're up to 30. That board tells us that the speed will be increasing to 75 miles an hour. I've shut off the power, selecting brake step 2 and observing our speed fall by 10 miles an hour. So now down to 20 miles an hour, releasing the brakes. And once that brake cylinder gauge reading comes back down, just straight into power notch 4. Speed limit's now 75 miles an hour, so we don't really need to worry about having a slow rate of acceleration. We can just, yeah, full steam ahead, innit? And we're going to be passing, I think there's 2 or 3 whistle boards coming up here. Speed, sorry, not speed. The time is now 6:09, so we can sound the horn at these whistle boards. There's the first one. Whistle board only warrants a low tone of the horn. A long blast of the low tone. Here's the second one coming up now. Actually, I think there's only 2. And the time that you're permitted to sound the horn at whistle boards is between 6 a.m. and midnight. So between midnight and 6 a.m. you are not allowed to sound the horn at whistle boards. You only sound the horn if it's an emergency or something. Okay, so we're up to 70 miles an hour. We've been climbing since leaving Faversham. We've been climbing and we've now hit the summit of that climb, so we're going to be descending. So I've shut off the power now and our speed should begin to roll upwards towards 75, and the speed limit's going to shortly increase to 85, and then not long after that it will increase to 90. But we're not too far out from our first station, which is Tenham, so I'm not going to get too excited. There's the 85 board coming up there. And I'm not going to bother accelerating up to 85 because I'm going to very shortly get the brakes in for Tenham station. So at this signal here, that's a good place to make a brake step 1 application. How are we doing for time? Yeah, we're pretty good for time. So I'm just going to drive in a very relaxed manner, making light brake applications from quite far out. If we were running late or on the verge of running late, I'd brake closer to the station and a bit harder. But yeah, like I said, we're pretty good for time at the moment, so can be a bit laid back with it. Speed limit's now gone up to 90 as that board tells us. And I think I got the brakes in a bit too early. Just going to release them momentarily. Yeah, actually way too early. So maybe don't apply the brakes at that signal. Maybe wait a bit longer than what I did. Okay, brake step 2. Sounding the horn at that whistle board there. And Tenham station in this direction is on a severe downward gradient, so I'm going to remain in brake step 2 for quite a bit. We are a long 12 carriage train, so we're going to stop at the end of the platform, so I don't need to stress about it too much. But 8 carriage trains, you want to be entering the station at like maybe 20, 25. No faster than 25, even probably 20 to be honest. because the brakes are not effective at all. Okay, that was a very bad approach. In my defense, I don't stop at Tenham Station too often, so I tend to always forget what to do. Oh! Ah! Hold on. Actually, no, we're good, we're good. Yeah. Yeah, so brake step 1 for the stand. Got the 12 carriage stop mark in the porthole window here, which is perfect. Full service, neutral, door release on the left. So yeah, I was just bouncing between brake steps 1 and 2. I think I momentarily released the brakes for a bit because I was going a bit too slow. And then as we got closer to the stop mark, I went back into brake step 2 because I was scared. um, anyway, we're gonna open the window, look back along the platform here. And we are, oh no, we're a minute late. So I'm gonna, at the next station, which is Sittingbourne, I'm gonna apply the brakes a lot closer to the station and a lot harder. Okay, green signal, pressing the door close button, looking back along the platform. No one seems to be trapped. Door interlock lights have illuminated. Final glance of the signal. F&R switch into forward. Power notch 1. Just looking back along the platform as we pull off. Close that window. Brake cylinder gauge reading has fallen to 0, so straight up to full power. Next station is Sittingbourne, which is not too far. I'd say about 3 miles from here. Sorry, the sniffing. It's another whistle board there. Now the speed limit is 90 miles an hour at the moment, but it's going to momentarily fall to 85 and increase back up to 90. I'm not sure why it does that. If anyone knows, let me know in the comment section, please. I think it does that on the East Coastway as well. It goes down from 90 to 80, then back up to 90. It just makes no sense to me. So here it is coming up now. You can see the board with the number 85 on it. We're currently doing 77 miles an hour, so we don't even need to worry about that. And then yeah, it goes back up to 90, as you can see here. I don't see the point in that. Like, what is that for? What? Anyway, just acknowledging the vigilance alert there. That occurs when no controller input is detected for 60 seconds. But I'm sure you guys know that by now. So we're not too far out from Sittingbourne Station. At this bridge here, I'm going to make an immediate brake step 2 application. Now it's going to get quite interesting recording some of these videos because we're now in September, so we're at the very start of the leaf fall season. And in leaf fall season, the track becomes very slippery. So you're required to make lighter brake applications from further out. Like what I did at Tenham Station, that more or less has to be the norm. That's why sometimes in real life you get a different timetable for the autumn time that just literally allows the trains to have a bit more time to drive more cautiously, because the track, it becomes very slippery. If they brake too hard, they're going to go ice skating. So yeah, I'm going to try incorporate that style of driving into my videos from now on. Maybe not yet because we're already in, I mean, we're only in September, but as we get further into October and November, definitely gonna try that out. So I was using, ooh, so I was using brake step 2 just to approach the station. I think we got down to 30 miles an hour, and I reduced it to brake step 1 as we entered the platform. Just been bouncing between brake steps 1 and 2, and here's our stopping position right here. Perfect. Brake step 3, neutral, doors on the left. I haven't really been actively calling out what I've been doing with the PBC while I'm doing it, but you guys can look at the brake cylinder gauge reading and see what I'm doing. And yeah, we're still a minute late. I shouldn't have been driving so in such a relaxed manner back at Tenham. I thought I had time, but clearly not. Anyway, green signal, looking back along the platform, pressing the door close button. Yep, doors are closed, door interlock lights have illuminated. F&R switch into forward, power notch 1. Just a quick look back as we move off. Obviously checking the signal of final time as well, and power notch 4. Also ensuring that the brake cylinder gauge reading has fallen to 0. Close the window. Next station is Newington. We've got a bit of an interesting approach to Newington station. More or less in the Newington area, there's 4-track running. We're currently on 2-track running, so you have our up and down lines, but in the Newington area, you're gonna have 4 tracks, so there'll be 2 tracks in the London direction, 2 tracks in the Faversham direction. So we're going to be branching off of the track that we're currently on. So you can see we have a flashing double yellow signal. That's just providing us with an advanced warning that we're going to be turning off of the track that we're currently on. So in 2 signal spacings time, we're going to be branching off of this track to run alongside it. I keep sniffing. I apologize. Speed limit is also about to fall to 70 miles an hour, and we're on a bit of an upward gradient, so I've just shut off the power at 71 miles an hour, I think, and I'm just going to let it begin to roll back down. Now we have a flashing single yellow signal coming up, and attached to that single yellow signal is a warning board telling us that the speed limit for trains that will be turning off of this track is 40 miles an hour. So I'm going to prepare to make a brake step 2 application. We've rolled down to 60 miles an hour. That's just due to the upward gradient. We're passing over the summit of that gradient now, so we're going to be heading downwards in a sec. So we only need to decelerate by 20 miles an hour, so I don't need to apply the brakes too early. So here's our signal telling us that we're going to be turning off, so I'm now going to get the brakes in. That is a single yellow signal as well, so I need to expect a red signal at the end of Tenham platform. So just in brake step 2 for a sec, but I've reduced it to brake step 1. We're now down to 40 miles an hour, but Tenham station is not too far beyond the turnout, so I'm going to continue slowing down. Yeah, you can literally see the platforms for that coming up now. And we have a green signal at the end of the platform, so I don't need to come in at a significantly reduced speed. If we had a red signal at the end of the platform, then I'd have to reduce the speed to be below 20 as we pass over the AWS magnet. I mean, we're doing below 20 anyway, but oh well. And again, Tenham Station, sorry. Have I been saying Tenham the whole time? I really hope I haven't been saying Tenham. This is Newington, by the way. Newington Station is on a downward gradient, similar to Tenham. And we're just coming to a stop at the end of the platform. There's no stop marks here, so I'm just going to use the final lamppost as our reference. Just going to put that in the window there. Perfect. Brake step 3, neutral, door release on the left. And we're more or less back on time. I think there's a bit of a long wait here at Tenham. I keep calling it Tenham. There's a bit of a long wait here at Newington Station, so that gave us a bit of time to catch up. Green signal, looking back along the platform, pressing the door close button. Yep, that looks fine to me. Door interlock lights have illuminated. Final glance of the signal. FNR switching to forward. Power notch 1. Quickly look back as we move off. Shut the window. Brake cylinder gauge is at 0. We're going to go up to power notch 3, not power notch 4, because the speed limit is still 40 miles an hour, although it's increasing to 75 as the board that we just passed states. However, we need to wait for the full length of our train to be clear of that board before accelerating above 40. So that's why I've selected power notch 3, just to ensure that we don't exceed 40 too early. Okay, so we should now be clear. So I've gone into power notch 4. And not too far from here, we are going to be joining back onto the track that we were previously on. So this 4-track running it doesn't last for too long. It goes back to 2-track running. And the speed limit for that move is 60 miles an hour. And then not too far after that is Rainham Station, so I'm going to get the brakes in rather early. So we hit a right hand curve here. After this right hand curve, there's a bit of a straight section, and then I believe there's another left hand curve. And around that left hand curve is a good place to get the brakes in. So yeah, here's the straight section I was on about. And then you can see the left hand curve coming up, so I'm going to get the brakes in now and decelerate down to 60. Just using brake step 1 to pull that off. This bridge coming up here, there's no 60 board there, but that is a good point to use as reference to tell you to be doing 60 miles an hour. And I momentarily released the brakes, but I'm actually gonna leave the brakes in because Rainham Station isn't too far from here. And once you are clear of that section that connects back onto this track here, the speed limit goes up to 75 miles an hour, and then in a sec it's going to be going up to 90. So you can see there's a board stating that coming up now. And this is Rainham Station. Yeah, Rainham Station. So I've just been aiming to enter these platforms at about 30 miles an hour. There's a Thameslink 700 over there. And again, 12 carriages, so we're aiming to stop at the end of the platform. Although here at Rainham in this direction, the 12 car stop mark, it can catch you out because it's not all the way at the end of the platform. I think this platform can accommodate 14 carriages. So yeah, here's the 12 car mark coming up now. Just momentarily selecting brake step 2, back down to brake step 1. Okay, I had to select brake step 3. Well, do you know what happened? Okay, neutral, door release. My controller does that sometimes. Honestly, guys, honestly, I swear, I pressed my R1 button, but it didn't register in the game, so the brakes didn't apply for like a second. But a second is all it takes, so I had to quickly go into power notch 3. I didn't really explain. Oh my, I said power notch 3. Yeah, I more or less pressed R1 and it didn't register in the game, so I didn't apply the brake step 1 when I was supposed to. So there was a bit of a delay in the brakes coming on, so I had to quickly go into brake step 3 there. Otherwise, I would have flown past the stop position. A lot of people wouldn't care; they would just let the stop position go by. But I care because I have an OCD. It needs to be in this window here. Otherwise, it will bug me. Especially when you have a run where you've put all of them in the window and then there'll be like one station where you don't do it. It just feels horrible. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So green signal, I've been waffling, so we're running late now. Pressing the door close button. That train shouldn't be moving because he has a red signal. But in the game they do that sometimes. They pull up to the red signal, but in real life he wouldn't be closing his doors until his signal was green. Anyway, yep, that looks fine to me. F&R switching to forward, green signal, power notch 1. Quickly looking back along the platform, power notch 4. And obviously observing the brake cylinder gauge reading, but I don't need to call this out anymore, do I? So yeah, you can see he's stopped at his red signal. We've been given priority, but that is not how you drive. That, trust me guys, don't do that. Next station is Gillingham. How am I doing on the recording? Okay, so I can get this whole video into one part. I don't need to split it in half. If normally when I'm recording, if my videos are above 60 minutes in total, I split it into 2 parts, but this video is going to be less than that, so I don't need to worry. So speed limit is currently 90 miles an hour, shortly reducing to 60. We're going to get a warning board regarding that speed reduction any second now, and there'll be an audible AWS warning associated with that warning board. Sniffing again, I apologize. So there's the AWS warning, there's the warning board there. So I'm just shutting off the power. And as we enter this straight section of track, I'm going to make a brake step 1 application. That should bring us down for 60. Yep, perfect. Releasing the brakes, there's our 60 board there. So you can use that signal as your point of reference, because that signal is situated more or less right next to the 60 board. Acknowledging another audible AWS warning, but that is for this warning board here. That does not apply to us, so we don't need to worry about that. On the left there is Gillingham Depot, so between here and Rochester we're going to be traveling on a section of track that I previously drove over in my class 700 video. And at this level crossing here, I'm going to make a brake step 2 application. Like I said, because we're running a bit late, I'm driving a bit more aggressively. Normally I'd apply the brakes at the signal protection Gillingham station and I'll use brake step 1, but yeah, gotta be a bit more aggressive with it. So at Gillingham station in this direction, you're safe to enter at 40 miles an hour because it's a very long platform and the stop position is right at the end. That being said, I might momentarily need brake step 3 there. Emergency even. Okay. Okay, that is okay, that wasn't good. Okay. We might as well go through the station overshoot procedure here. So back down to brake step 3 into neutral, and I'm gonna observe that the leading passenger door is still on the platform, which it is, so we are still safe to open the doors, thankfully. Oh gosh. Door release on the left. That was close. That was close. I selected the emergency position. That is very rare for me to do. I don't know who I thought I was there coming into Gillingham that fast. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, I'm embarrassed. It's making me want to go back and record it again, but no, I'll leave it in the video because that can happen in real life. You know that stuff like that happens. We're humans at the end of the day. And I'm still 2 minutes late anyway, so I might as well have just driven cautiously. Anyway, green signal, looking back, pressing the door close button. Yep, that looks fine to me. Green signal, wait, yep, green signal. F&R switch it to forward. Power notch 1 as the brake cylinder gauge gets below 1 bar. Looking back again as we pull off and straight up to full power. Next station is Chatham. So at the end of this tunnel, the speed limit will be reduced into 50 miles an hour, and not long after that it will be reduced into 30 miles an hour, and we pass the warning board for the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit before entering this tunnel. So at this point I'm gonna shut off the power and make a brake step 1 application. You can use the signal coming up as a point of reference for the 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. So yep, we're down to 50 just in time, and I'm going to remain in brake step 1, and doing so should bring us down just in time for the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. And after that I'm going to continue to decelerate down to 28 miles an hour because we are on a downward gradient. So I'll release the brakes at 28 miles an hour and the speed should roll back up to 30 because of gravity. So yep, we're down to 30. There's the 30 board there. Releasing the brakes at 28 miles an hour. So yeah, that back at Gillingham there, if my first door was not on the platform, I would, what would I do? I would either have to continue to the next station or quickly go to the other end of the train and just drive backwards a couple of feet. It depends on what the signaler tells you to do, to be honest. But yeah, that's quite embarrassing. Avoid avoid having situations like that at all costs. I just got a bit too excited there. I was running late, trying to make back time, flying into Gillingham Station at 40 miles an hour, not applying brake step two until I was right at the end of the platform. What can go wrong? What can go wrong? Anyway, so I've just been using brake step one from the end of the platform here. I've almost done the same thing here at Chatham Station as well. Brake step three, neutral, doors on the left. The video was going so well, and then it's just gone downhill. But anyway, we've got one more station after this, Rochester, and then the AI will take command of this service, drive it up to Cannon Street. Right, green signal, door close button. Yep, that looks fine to me. Green signal again, forward. Power notch 1, just letting that brake cylinder gauge reading fall to 0. Quickly look back along the platform a final time. And up to power notch 3 because the speed limit is currently 30 miles an hour. So we don't need a massive rate of acceleration. Gonna shut off the power at 25 miles an hour because we are on we're on a downward gradient. So the speed is going to roll up to 30 naturally. Goodness me. And just acknowledging an audible AWS warning regarding this double yellow signal. This signal being double yellow tells us that we have been cleared to the end of Rochester station. So we have a red signal. We have a red signal at the end of Rochester platform. And we're up to 30 miles an hour, so I'm going to momentarily make a brake step 1 application and decelerate back down to 25 and then release the brakes. And that's due to the fact that we are still on a downward gradient. We're going to be on a downward gradient into Rochester station. Just acknowledging another audible AWS indication that is regarding this single yellow signal here. That specific signal that we just passed, sometimes depending on the lighting conditions, it can be a single yellow but look like a red, and that can really bug you out. You have to creep up to it sometimes just to ensure that it is displaying a single yellow. So we've entered Rochester station. I'm not going to make the same mistake as last time, just acknowledging the audible AWS indication there, and I've gone straight into brake step 2, back down to brake step 1, creeping along the platform here, up to brake step 2 again, momentarily back down to brake step 1, and I'm going to put the stop board in the window this time because it's the final station. Yeah, just bouncing between brake steps 1 and 2, perfect. Brake step 3, neutral, setting the DRA because we have a red signal there, door release on the left. Okay, close the window. I'll just move the tail light switch into the off position there, F and R switch into off, remove the master key, disable the safety systems, and exit the cab. Okay. Oh, I fell off the end of the platform. Look at that. I broke my back. Okay. Thank you. I planned the emergency position in my video. I am embarrassed. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this commentated drive. I hope you enjoyed it. This one was a bit more hilarious and comedic than some of the other ones. But you know, it's good. It's good to have that element in my videos sometimes. So yeah, I'm not sure what trip I'm gonna be doing next, but I don't know. We'll see in it. We'll see. So once again, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Any constructive criticism or feedback is more than welcome in the comment section below. And if you want to, of course, feel free to like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Love.